little bit about Kevin Wilson's impact earlier, Coach. Do you think it's going to be similar when Tom Herman was here? Do you think we'll have maybe more autonomy than some of the other offensive coordinators we've had?
Oh, I think that's earned. I think that's, you know, I made a point that he's the first established offense coordinator I've hired, so that comes with a pretty impressive track record. He's good for what we were lacking, and that's back to the tempo that Tom was so good at, and that's Kevin's world. It's also Ryan Day's world. So when we were the best over the last 16 years is when I had two guys just feed off each other and go. And I feel very good with Ryan Day and Kevin Wilson right now. Oh, I think it was remarkable. I think Ryan Day is a guy that I've tried to get before, but he wasn't available. You know, and he was with Chip Kelly, and then the same with Kevin Wilson. Someone, you know, I didn't anticipate that one, but obviously I've admired from afar his ability. So timing worked out pretty good. Well, especially when you see our schedule, it's top heavy right out of the chute. We go on the road to Indiana, and then we got Oklahoma, and Billy Price is going to be snapping the ball to J.T. Barrett. It's not two freshmen or two rookies, or you know, the offense line's intact except for the right guard. So you're going to have some established people, and if you have the 3-4 games like a lot of times you do early in the season, 3 or 4 non-conference games at home, usually you can develop that experience. But we're right in it. Well, he made a decision to come back, and I was around when he was making that decision. That was tough on him. He received a lot of advice, but there's parts of his game. This is how detailed he is. There's parts of his games that he could improve on, and he has improved on it. And him and his coach went to work starting in January, and there's no better worker than him. So he's going to be a critical member.
You guys are going to keep losing guys is it fair to say that you need seniors to win, that there's those tough games that determine the season that are tough? Do you need?
I think I'd be one of about 130 coaches would say yes. I mean, it's been done before without it, but those names you mentioned, we don't win the national champion 14 without those guys. And they played their best. It's one thing when you have seniors, but when their seniors play their best football, and that's their last year. Evan Spencer, I love him. He's like my son. He played one great year, senior year. You know, Curtis Grant played one great year his senior year. Stevie Miller played one great year. If we can say that same thing about this group, we'll have an excellent season. But there's one thing about seniors than others, that seniors play their best year of football.
Everything's built on recruiting. With that idea in mind, that you need seniors, how do you, is it locked? I mean, you can't recruit guys and think, well, this guy seems like the guy's going to be here fighting, right?
No, that's a great point. That's you worry about that throughout their journey. You try to recruit the best players possible. Yeah, you don't recruit a guy saying, I hope he's out of here in 3 years. You know, but there's also a party of saying, I hope he's out of here in 3 years. That means he's a first-round draft pick. So that's a great question, but you don't even think about that. Let's take a lesser player because he'll be here for a while. No.
What do you expect out of DeMario McCollum? Is going to be back up to like a running back? Might he move around, play some H? Just what do you expect out of DeMario?
Well, return game, I'm hoping he's a factor. He certainly showed signs of great elusiveness, and our question is how durable can he be, and how strong can he be? Because he's had a very good offseason. So I'm hoping to move him around a little bit.
It's tough for true freshmen to play running back. Do you think J.K. Dobbins is going to?
Oh yeah, he's playing. Sure, he's already proved the fact that he's going to play.
Urban, you talk about how difficult the conference has gotten recently. Any reasons specifically why that's happened?
Yeah, recruiting. Just look at the top 20 right now, and American, the Big Ten's all over the place. I remember for a while there, you'd look at the top 25 in recruiting, and you just wouldn't see the Big Ten, but they're everywhere now.
Are there any games you specifically circle now, or do you still circle, or are you looking at the entire slate?
A rivalry game, but the way the season's going to start, it's on Indiana.
With Greg Schiano, were you surprised to get him back for a second year, or was it one of those deals where you asked him for two up front?
Well, he was offered 2 head coaching jobs and 2 significant head coaching jobs, and he made a decision to come back. I've known Greg for a long, long time. He's a head coach. He will be a head coach, and I'm going to keep him as long as I can. I thought he's one of the best I've ever been around, and he's a little bit better than that. That's how good of a coach he is.
And for you to hand him basically, I think most of the time you have co-defensive, is it correct? Just kind of reward that with giving him the full leash?
Yeah, just the way it worked out. I named Coach Combs assistant coordinator, so he's involved as well, which is a much greater role. But yeah, I'm glad we have him.
And I think he was just named like a top 5. Somebody named him a top 5 recruiter in the country.
Schiano?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is he still that good as?
Oh yeah, he's elite.
Have you had much contact with football and seems to be flourishing there? What do you hear about him, or do you talk?
Yeah, I'll always talk to Luke, and he's great. We don't talk shop very much anymore. He's got 6 children, and my son's going to go play baseball where he's a coach. So it's more that type of conversation, and I think it's the right job for him at the right time.
Urban, when you had positions to fill on your staff, I'm sure you looked at a lot of places, but now that Luke's gone, I went back to like the 1940s to find the last time Ohio State has not had a former player on its coaching staff, and I think it might even go back beyond that. Was that a consideration at all when you were trying to fill the positions, finding?
No, I liked Ohio. If you look, I hired mostly Ohio guys since I've been there. I hire the best guy. Certainly, if he's a Buckeye, that will probably move him up the ranks a little bit. I didn't realize that, but I just look at who's the best coach available and the current chemistry of the staff and what we need.
How could that? I mean, it could help the players, right? If there was a guy who was going through the program.
Oh, sure. We got Jeff Uhlenhake on our staff, and I want to say there's a couple other guys that were former players that are around, but maybe not the 9. Oh, Hartline's on it. He's around. He's not one of the 9. I sure do. I talked to DJ earlier. I saw their new facility. It's a great area for great players, recruiting, and he's an excellent coach. So I pull for him every game except for one.
You mentioned in there that you have maybe up to 7 guys competing for right guard. That's pretty rare. Can you just expound on that, what you expect at right guard?
Yeah, you wish it was down to, there's positive and negative having 7 guys. How do you get those guys reps? And no one has really stepped up and taken it. So it's going to be a street fight, especially the first 10 days, because you can't have 7 guys competing for that spot. And we're a little light at tackle. So if I move a Bowen or move a Munford in there, then we're having a big issue at tackle. So that's going to be number 1 on the hit parade as we start practice.
Urban, you mentioned Wyatt Davis up there at the podium. Is Wyatt Davis? I said Wyatt. Go ahead, finish it.
Who really caught your eye? Those 3 freshmen.
Oh, let's see. Josh was there throughout the spring, and he did a very good job. Wyatt and Thayer Mumford just got here, so it's not fair yet. I'll let you know once we start.
Urban, Billy Price came in as a defensive lineman 5 years ago. Moved to the offensive line, had a rough go his freshman year. Took over in the offensive line, had a rough start to the start of his career. Now is kind of the team leader on the verge of being the all-time leader in Ohio State history in games started. How valuable has Billy been to you? What have you seen change in him over the last few years?
Yeah, he was. I would not put that on Billy. Billy was a defensive lineman / O lineman. We recruited him. He's a pleaser. He's a guy that wants to be perfect at everything he does. And obviously, as a freshman, that's hard. So we redshirted him, and I believe his second year was the national title. And so he played very well. He played in a very strong. You had Jacoby, you had Pat, and you had him. And those guys are very close inside. So I think he's had a great career. I think he'll go down as. I didn't realize he could break that record if he stays healthy. Yeah, he should go down as one of the all-time greats.
Urban, we know what you did with the offensive staff. How hard did that, just the concept of a shutout, to deal with?
It was awful. Yeah, it was. I could sugarcoat and tell you something that but it was awful. And you forces you to reevaluate everything you do and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
What is, I guess, JT's role in that this year, offensively, just to get better, go down?
Well, he's the quarterback, so he's one A on the hit parade, and then you got Billy Price. But the one, and everybody knows this, but the quarterback gets far too much benefit of the doubt. JT Barrett broke a bunch of records as a freshman. That's because the receivers were outstanding and the offensive line was outstanding, and he'd be the first one to tell you. We struggled at times last year because our offensive line wasn't up to speed, our tight ends were not good, and our receivers weren't playing at potential. So the quarterback takes the hit, and we have to get better.
I think this is right. You personally shut out, is that right?
I don't think we were. I think that's the first one.
When you talked about how valuable Curtis was being an AG, but also a promotion in the backfield, played basically two positions. Can Paris do that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, he was a running back in high school, and we've been working him at that. So he'll be a dual, and he looks great. We just got to keep him healthy.
And I know, everybody's their own guy, but in terms of the role on the team, Paris can be that role that
I think he can. He hasn't done it yet, but he has everything, including the guts, toughness, character, work ethic. He's top 5 hardest working guys on the team.
Urban, you mentioned up at the podium Kendall Sheffield, and we know about the 5-star, the Alabama, and everything that has come along with him, but we haven't really, aside from a few windows in spring, seen him. What is it about him that makes you think that he might be a main piece of that cornerback rotation, and just how good is he for the people who really haven't seen him play?
He's an Olympic or world-class runner. He's legitimate fast. Him and Denzel Ward are two of the fastest guys we've ever had. He's also got a nice body on him. He's strong. He works well in the weight room, and he's got some maturity to him. He's not the 17-year-old that's never seen a full stadium. So those are all going to his advantage, and he's learning from the best corner coach in the United States of America, Kerry Combs, and he's going to be a big-time. He's in the mix right now.
When a guy plays at junior college, how different is that from getting a year of experience at the Division I level?
If it's a good JC, you get some very good quality out of that. And Blinn, where he came from, is a good quality junior college, and he was coached well. He worked hard, so that's better than sitting around and redshirting him. Him getting the playing time. So that helped.
when the quarterback's already played 3 years of college football, how much realistic improvement can he
Quarterback.
Yeah. How much realistic improvement can he make in another year? Is it largely dependent on what's happening around personnel?
Talk about JT. So the question, quarterback plays for 3 years, how much better he can get? Off the, incredible amount of growth he still has left in him. He was, I think, a guy like him, as I said earlier, his year is going to be dependent on how the performance of those around him as well as him. And the luxury that he had in 14, the players around him played. We were 5 units strong on offense when he played. We weren't that way last year on offense. So that's going to be the challenge. I'll let you know in about a week, but I feel strong about both of them. We've recruited very well at both positions. Those 3 freshman receivers are going to, Trayvon Grimes, Jalen Harris, and Elijah are all going to compete as well. They're 6'3", 6'4" plus guys. So we'll know more in about a week. Grimes? Oh yeah, he is full speed now. Just recently moved to full speed. Everything.
So now you're looking at him.
Oh sure. Yep.
Is it not like Bosa last year where you might limit his reps early and then just kind of work him in as the season goes on?
Exactly. He's going to be treated exactly like Bosa.
Urban, you mentioned those fifth-year seniors and what they've contributed. How in the recruiting efforts bringing the next wave of guys, whether it's Friday night lights or thing, what you noticed about these seniors helping recruiting?
As far as recruiting,
Yeah, like helping.
oh, they're great. Yeah, we use them all the time, and when you see what they've done academically, internships, those are the same kids going to ESPN, Nike, Goldman Sachs. They're the ones out and about. And in recruiting, all you got to do is say Sam Hubbard, and here, by the way, look at this, 3-point-plus student. He's interned at Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan Chase, and he happens to be the best D-line, one of the top D-linemen in America. that's all a plus. And they're very gracious with their time. They really help us.
Irvin, you mentioned you talked about DJ. You talked about DJ Durkin before. How about Chris Ash, another one of your mentors? What did you proteges? What did you say to him during the off season after them, and what do you think of his plan at Rutgers?
Well, I've seen him a couple times. We don't talk much. DJ and I probably talk a little bit more, but not much because I just started with DJ at Bowling Green. Chris is in it, and he's working, and he's recruiting his tail off. I think he's also one of the best I've had, and he'll do fine.
Irvin, from the perspective of somebody like you who's been familiar with the Penn State program for a long time, how would you describe their journey the last 5 years, and what has it meant for the Big Ten and for college football?
Well, I've always had great admiration for Penn State, and a little bit like Ohio State when, we had a probation year and all that, and it was down, and it bounced back rather quickly. And I think that's a credit to the university and the coaching staff and everybody that they bounced back so fast. And, so. Sam Hubbard at linebacker? Who brought that up? Oh yeah, no, that's real. That's not a linebacker though. Yeah, we have 5 like we have right now. I've kind of tapped them on the shoulder and said, all those 5 guys are playing. Oh. Yeah. It's fun to have checkers like that and move them around. Yeah.
Especially then, is it possible that you can have too much? Like, if you have 4 guys who on a lot of teams can be the best defensive end on that team, they all probably want to.
Is it possible to have too many? No.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to manage playing time, manage
Yeah.
egos, manage.
On defense, I never thought about it. It's happened on offense. It's happened here. And a couple of years ago when, every time I walk in a press conference, why do you only have 4 touches? Why about this? What about that? And it can be, once again, I'd rather have that conversation say we don't have anybody. So I've never had the situation, and it remains to be seen. And I think Larry Johnson and Greg Schiano know how to handle it. I mean, or have had conversations that I've been involved in too, and it's be creative, like the young man said back there. I wouldn't call him a linebacker, but he might be something like that, and get him on the field.
Do you feel okay? Oops.
Last year we had 29 what? Wow. Next step is to play like sophomore, second-year players, because unfortunately when young first-time players play, they look like first-time players. And so the next step, and it's looked really good. The one thing I've hammered that 15 class really hard, and they've shown a lot of growth. Draymond Jones, Mike Weber, we're getting some really good production out of that group now.
Do you feel all right about if you got to a moment of truth when JT had to come out or sit down that the other 2 or 3 could handle it?
We're not there yet. I think after the first 2 weeks of fall, we better be there, and someone better establish himself as that guy. But both of them, talking about Joey and Joe Burrow and Dwayne, that they at times in spring they look like they're ready to go, both of them.
Urban, you had talking to some of your players this morning. They mentioned this summer they spent more time running in their summer conditioning than they ever had before. They focused more on running. In your conversation with your strength staff, why was that an important part of their plan for the summer to prepare? Was just running and building that part of their conditioning?
I don't know. I don't want to argue with them or disagree with them, but I don't. Everybody, that might be their opinion because they're right in the middle of it right now. But I would say that probably was not that much different, and there wasn't like we said, let's go run much more because we were out of shape or something. Because we were in great shape last year too. So once again, I don't want to argue with them, but just go show up for practice on Thursday. We're good. I think it was good. I'd grade him a good solid B. 3rd freshman ever to rush for 1,000 yards. And I would grade his offseason. He's bordering on gold, which you've been around our program. Gold means that you go from blue to red to gold. And he's a gold worker now, which he was blue for a long time. So he's really made strides in his work ethic. Maturity, and Coach Alfred and Coach Marotti, you don't survive here very long if you're hanging around the blue.
As you're going into camp, what is your pecking order of running back? Obviously, it looks like you'll be number one, but
Mike Weber, J.K. Dobbins, you hope Antonio, he had injuries all throughout spring, but he looks really good right now, and DeMario, and Paris. Paris is going to get some time at running back too.
Urban, it's been reported that you guys might be the fastest team in college football this year, just overall. What is your take on that? Do you see that speed when you look out there? Where does it show up?
Oh, the skill everywhere, really. I mean, we don't recruit the fat linemen that can't run. And you look Isaiah Prince and Jamarco, for big guys, they can really run. Billy Price can really run. And then our linebackers, you have Jerome Baker and Dante Booker, legitimate fast guys. And it's recruiting and speed development. And we praise supremely on guys that everybody does, on guys that can run.
Urban, you always talk about you want to encourage your commits to visit other places if they want to visit other places.
No, we don't do that.
You don't encourage them?
No. If they feel they have to or they want to, we don't say you're done. We don't do that. But no, we'd much rather not have
the
it.
bottom line has always just been communication and honesty all the time, correct?
Yeah.
How is there like a policy or a way that you guys approach things based on the caliber of player or the position that they play, and how, you see what I'm saying? Like a quarterback commitment might have different rules for how and when they can visit programs than an offensive lineman when there's 5, and how do you kind of create that plan of, to make things seem equal, but it can't always be equal when the value of a position or a person is different. You see what I'm saying?
You're exactly right. And, you don't have it like there's not a policy book that we say, okay, here's what it is. It's every situation is different. You handle it as it goes. And there's one rule that I have and we all use is extreme honesty in everything we do, and we ask the same out of our prospects.
Do you ever get into a situation, or have you ever been in a situation where you've allowed a kid to do one thing and then another kid wanted to do that thing and they say, hey, why was he able to? Or it seems like it might be a little bit.
I know where you're getting at. We've never been in that. I could see that maybe happening. But usually when someone says, I want to go do this, we're not going to stand in the way of it. It just doesn't happen very often.
If somebody goes and visits somewhere and doesn't tell you, is that an automatic you're out?
No. You're dealing with 17-year-olds. No, it's okay. Let's have a little talk here and find out what's going on.
Urban, you mentioned on the podium the perception of the league changing in 5 years and noticing it from the outside and the in. Some people, what do you say to the narrative that people have called that the Urban Meyer effect? Since you're hiring, changeover, emphasis, the money that's been spent program-wide throughout the Big Ten, kind of can draw a line. Do you take flattery? Any response to that?
No response other than it's a lot of credit to be given, and it's certainly not. It's certainly to the institutions said, let's go. And that's, you look around this conference and there are some great coaches and some great players. Go look at the top 20 recruiting list right now, and the Big Ten's everywhere. I remember looking when we first got. I said, wait a minute, where's everybody at? And you can say that doesn't matter. That's not true. I mean, that's not the bottom line. But competitiveness in recruiting, when I first heard that, I said, well, what does that matter? That's everything that we do. And so there's a lot of great recruiting going on in our conference.
Urban, how do you expect the offense?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I had conversations with him for several times.
Did you watch him over the past few years, or do you watch him once you decided to make a
Well, I've known Ryan since he worked for me in 2005. So I've watched him and kept in touch. He was the offense coordinator at Boston College, who I'm very close with their coach. So he's already part of the tree, really. So.
Can you tell he's been around Chip Kelly?
Oh, yeah.
How does it show?
Well, just his philosophical approach. He's had myself, Steve Adazio, and Chip Kelly, and it's very, Steve's a little bit different, but deep down the essence of coaching, how you treat players, how you push them, and offensive system is more like Chip and myself.
How do you expect the offense to look different this year than it has the last two?
Tempo and efficiency throwing the ball. That's where it has to improve.
Did you ask Chip Kelly if he wanted to be your offensive coordinator?
No. I don't think it was, to be honest with you, I can't remember. I talked to him, but it wasn't about becoming an offense coordinator.
We see Shiano. Of course, on one level it seems.
It's a good point. I should have known.
Yeah, just tell him, listen, Chip, shut up.
Yeah. It's a good. I got to write that down. That was a good idea.
JT's not here. He said he was asked if he's done it before.
Yeah, I talked. JT's like part of our staff. I called him in one day when Jerry said who we taking, and I said, first of all, I don't care, and second of all, you know, I should care. We have 3 fifth-year seniors. JT's done it before. JT, what do you think? And he, typical JT, gave me his opinion, which was selfless, and it'd be good exposure for 3 fifth-year seniors. Never done. I'd like to see if that's ever happened. 3 fifth-year seniors in this era go, and they've earned the right. So JT was great, but he was involved in the conversation.
Urban, you were talking about how recruiting has changed in the Big Ten. How has it changed for you personally in the 5 years that you've been at Ohio State? How has your role in the recruiting day-to-day changed with the expansion of Mark's staff and everything else that goes on?
It is every day recruiting now because it's so early now. You know, you're getting all these early commitments. The minute you sign that class, you used to take a break for a couple months, and you're already knee-deep in the next class. We're already knee-deep in the, what is it, 18? We're already knee-deep in 19. And I worry about the direction. Where's this end? You know, then all of a sudden a group of people get together and say, let's go bring in kids on official visits in April, May, and June. And so when do you spend time with your families? When do you spend time with your current team? When do you let kids develop and let them make their own decisions? And, hey, let's lock them in. Let's make a decision when they're 16 and make it finish. You know, I don't agree with that at all.
Is your personal role and how the recruiting day-to-day changed?
No, I've always been very involved, and it's just our staff will tell you it's every day, and it never stops.
Ruben, we're talking a lot. We've been talking a lot.
Media, coaching, the percentages of those three
It's,
that make up your job.
Media's number 1.
you said media in the top 3? Just you, because you asked.
You've done 21 different interview sessions today, and you're not done yet.
I'm about done. Recruiting by far number 1.
How much?
70.
70.
Yeah.
You only coach 30%.
Yeah. Especially this time of year. Now that's about to drastically change here in about 4 days or whatever it is. But this time of year, from January until August, and you better.
Or you get out, right?
Or you get out, or you're not very good. Yeah, that's the way it is right now too. All the satellite camps, and the Big Ten. The competition in our conference right now is as real as it's ever been, and it's strong. I mean, it's strong right now. The competition within our conference.
Urban, obviously, the Joey Dwayne competition for backup quarterback is going to be a major talking point and a huge thing for the future of the program, considering JT's got 1 more year left. Given the way that the quarterback depth chart is in place right now, and you guys have one potentially coming in who's going to be pretty good as well, do you ever have to sit these guys down or make a plan of, the idea that a transfer could be a real thing to the one who doesn't come out on it because, they're going to be in a bad position, at least in terms of their future here? I mean, how do you handle, because it's not just who's the starter, it could be who's going to be in this program as the stakes of this competition coming up.
Well, we avoided that a couple years ago when we had 3 guys, and that was I've seen it all across the country. I dealt with it when I had Cam Newton and Johnny Brantley, and we decided to redshirt, play one, and then Cam left Florida. So we have constant conversation about it. You try to create a culture where they don't want to leave because why did Cardell stay? Because he didn't want to let his teammates down, and he stuck around. So. But it is real. You have graduate transfers now. You have all this opportunity for guys to move on, and guys want to go play. So, yes, we have talked about it. Yes, we are preparing as if something might happen. But we do that every year, and especially that position.
Do you have the discussion with the kids?
Yeah, especially these guys because they're grown men. I mean, they're really good people in our program right now, and the families are involved. This is not, this kind of stuff that I've been a part of before, and it's great conversation. And at the end of the day, we want what's best for that guy too.
You mentioned in the spring that Ben Victor might be one of the most talented receivers you've ever coached. What does he still need to show you, Urban, to be a starter?
Strength and just maturity. He's got to get bigger and stronger. Not bigger, but stronger and just more consistent. Typical young player, but talented as can be.
Is Terry McLaurin maybe the one guy who you think is definitely going to be a starter, but it's probably going to be out there a lot on that wide receiver?
Paris is a starter. I'd say Terry's a starter. The guy that you guys that I can't believe I'm saying this early is Johnny Dixon is off the charts right now. He's moved into the gold category as far as work ethic and practice, and he's a very talented guy.
Do you guys have to be careful with him still with his knees and is he practicing every
Yeah,
day?
you just have to. Well, we haven't practiced, but with strength with Mick, he said he's full go, 0 issues.
JT set the bar so high after his freshman season for himself. Since then, has he hit the expectations that you had for him or that he set for himself?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't really look at it that way, but he'd be, an honest answer would be, after that freshman year, you thought it'd be a little bit more, but I think he's going to finish a great career.
Hey, Irvin, you guys were a mildly controversial pick last year for the playoff. You didn't win the conference. I feel like not playing well against Clemson maybe added fuel to that fire. Maybe the other side that said, hey, the conference championship been in there.
I have no idea.
No thoughts about that?
Really none. I haven't thought about it. I don't remember the controversy. I remember a little bit about it, but time will go so fast.
Tomorrow they're going to remember a little more about it probably. Penn State shows up.
What's that?
When Penn State shows up, probably a little bit more talk about it. I mean, just you guys were, you validated yourselves maybe a couple of years ago when you won out of the 4 slot. Could have been one of those 2 Big 12 teams, and then maybe this time around you sort of, you're the first non-champion to get in. Maybe you didn't play as well as you could have.
That's all true. We
No
can't control that.
reaction.
No.
No reaction. Okay.
Coach, you talked about Joey and Dwayne. How close is that competition for
Very
that 2
close.
spot right now? And whoever's behind, what do they need to show to kind of get back into the race?
Yeah, very close, and guys that I feel very comfortable, but it's going to be a day-to-day competition for that spot.
Is there a leader for that right now?
Not right now.
Do you envision that any of those 2 guys could be a part of your actual on-the-field game plan?
Sure.
Not just in the beginning portion of the season as the competition's still going on, but could there be a package for 1 or 2 of them?
We've been known to do that. That's up to the player. So if a guy has a great training camp, we'll find a way to get him on the field.
Urban, with opening up with Indiana, do you see next month camp the attitude vibe, everything described? Why will it be different versus the usual opening?
I haven't, I've on purpose let coach our strength coach. I've not been around him. I've been around him, but not to that extent. I don't speak to him very much. That starts obviously this Thursday.
But do you see things being different just because you're not getting?
It will.
Nothing against those other non-conference opponents.
It will be. It will be the urgency to get a team ready to go, but that's not started yet. That starts Thursday.
Coach, what will it be like to come to Lincoln and play the Huskers? This is the first time since 2013.
Yeah, last time I was Lincoln, we got the hell kicked out of us when I was at Colorado State. So I mean, like, bad. Tom Osborne years, and that was one of these. So I know it's a great place. I know it's one of the top 10 places historically, and we better be ready. I remember the fans clapped for us after just beating us to death, and whenever that was, 1990 something. Well, the kicker is going to be, he was our kicker in 14, and he's back to looking the way he did. He's had a good summer from everything I hear, and the punter is very talented. So that one hurts a little bit because I loved Cam. Cam was my guy, and he was a competitor, great young man, old. He was 21 years old when we got him. But this guy's really good. Drew. Who? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's still open. There's no one has that job yet. Not as good. Not as good. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're still going to do that.
Irvin, you were talking about the defensive line earlier. What is it about Taekwon Lewis within that makes him so dominant, and how does that dominance maybe help everybody else in that front seven do their job?
Yeah, if you guys get to meet Taekwon, he's a man's man. He's already got his degree. He's the first generation graduate out of his family. He's one of the toughest guys, best guys I've ever been around. And you're talking about Larry Johnson and Taekwon Lewis. They can't get better than that. You can't say, well, this is a better combination coach and player. Those guys just work their tails off, and they're so close. It's just fun to watch.
How does that alleviate everyone else in the front seven maybe do their job better?
Yeah, I mean, you look at those guys, and you look at our 4 DNs right now, and that doesn't include Chase Young and Jonathan Cooper. So we have 4. Unfortunately, probably lose 3 of them, but you have Bosa. Jalen Holmes is in that same category, and Sam Hubbard. So we got to find a way, like someone mentioned earlier, get them on the field.
What do you see out of Robert Landers in the offseason? He did some great things for you last year.
Yeah, he's just got to continue to mature, and he's kind of a big play guy for us. He's so quick off the ball, but he'll be a valuable member.
This time next year, I think, if I'm not mistaken, start taking official visits earlier.
Yep.
How's that going to affect things? I would think you've already thought about that a little bit. Number 2, Friday Night Lights be a casualty of that, or will you continue with Friday Night Lights? Have you thought that through yet?
Yeah, I think they're going to eliminate camps in July, so we'd have to determine if it's still valuable. I don't know. I've never been more conscientious about players and coaches and their families and when do they get to take a deep breath. And so that's my number 1 concern right now is, first of all, you're forcing kids to make early decisions, and second of all, the lifestyle of a coach. A guy goes on the road the month of, first of all, I'm going to maybe change our practice schedule in spring to not keep them on Saturdays. Because when you get to, I want my coaches to see their kid. I want to see my kids play sports. And how do you get to go do that? And then month of May, you're on the road recruiting. And then now, by the way, every April, May, and June, every weekend's tied up because you have official visits. When do you spend time with your family and your players? So I just hope there's enough representation on these committees that are actually people doing it, not people that stand up here and tell these people how to do it.
Why wasn't a guy like you consulted, you think? I mean,
I think we were. I don't know. Now's not probably the time to. We got to get ready to go. Yeah. Yeah, the area that's grown is creative design and social. We exploded that. We used to have one guy did everything, and now we have an army of people that do it. So it's probably my favorite organization on our staff because I hire a bunch of young go-getters that are always trying to outdo each other, and it's fun to see the energy in that room. So.
You see what Tom Herman did?
Well, it changes just you're getting that many more eyes and ears on what you're doing, and it's been a positive, and I think we handled it right. We're not over the top, yet we're taking advantage of what's allowed, and it's been helpful.
Urban, following up on that, Bob Bowlesby said at the Big 12 Media Days, he's the chairman of oversight. There's a team out there that has 197 staff members, and it's not the team you think. That's what he said.
Wow.
Can you conceive of there being enough work for 197 people?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I just would never. My fear is that you have too many hands and too many, just. So I think we're good where we're at. I'm anxious to see. I know that's on the desk of the committees right now on the staff side, and so I'm anxious to see what it is. I think that's too much. Whatever you just said, that's far too many. And I think it's very manageable what we're doing right now.
On the creative design thing, did you see what Herman did? He said like one of his biggest hires was getting that guy from Alabama because he was really good at tweeting those recruiting banners, but I don't know what you even call them.
I know
Not
he.
a question, no.
Yeah.
Urban, you mentioned
Oh, Chris Spielman. Chris is a dear friend, and I met with Gene. I really wasn't aware what was it, and I'm still really not. I've spent 0.00 time on it because we're busy, and I just don't know enough about it.
Does it hurt you that he sued the school?
No, that's between Chris and the school. And at some point, I've not talked to Chris, and Chris is one of my dear friends. And if we do, I'm not going to talk to him about that. It's going to be about Buckeyes and et cetera.
Urban, you mentioned the rivalry up there. It's year 3 now for Harbaugh. How, if at all, does he change the way you do your job or the way you approach anything?
I don't think it's just Coach Harbaugh. I think it's our conference. I think this is an intense, you better bring it every day, and that's top to bottom in our conference now. And he was a big part of that as well. And
Coach, to go along with that, last year's game against Michigan, highly controversial, hard fought for it, arguably one of the most entertaining games of the year. As you reflect on that game now and what it means going forward, you talked about the 10-year war earlier. Does it kind of feel like that 10-year war between Michigan and where the two programs are and where they're headed?
I think they're very good programs. I think they're very highly respected programs across all our colleagues and recruiting, et cetera. You know, I think the fact that was I didn't realize that was a first overtime game in that whole rivalry. That's kind of neat to be part of that. And I know one thing: you better be ready to go when you play those guys. And that's. Other than that, we start practice Thursday.
Did you ever go back and look at the spot when we're talking about the fourth down play?
About 100 times.
What did you think of?
We start practice on Thursday.
The last 2 times, the only 2 times prior to last year, your teams have lost the bowl game of 7-13. Came back the next year, ended up pretty good for you guys the following season. National titles.
07 and 13. It depends on how I'm trying to think. Oh, that's just so far back, to be honest with you. Capital One. And then 13. Oh, Clemson. Yeah. Well, you remember 13 was a much different issue. We had a bad defense. You know, we were really struggling, and we made some changes on defense. And so we struggled on offense. We made some changes. So that's more. It's not a standard. It depends what happened. So we're trying to fix whatever our weakness is. That's what we've done over the last couple of years.
But is it, I mean, honestly, is it more likely you win so much? Is it more likely that you might change after once? That you might
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When you fail is when the things are going when you use the term enhance, make it better, make it stronger. If you fail, if something's not going well, you change it. So yeah, absolutely. I never looked at it that way, but that's if things are going well, you don't change. You try to make it better. But
Ask you about your defense last year. Did it maybe not get the credit it deserved? I mean, it stacks up statistically with the country last year and any Ohio State's had the last 20 years. And you lose the Penn State game, 10 points didn't come off that defense. I don't know, what's your thought looking back on their overall body of work last year?
yeah, I think they get the credit within our bill. I don't know the credit you mean on the outside or something. I think it was one of the best defenses in America and Ohio State history, and statistically they were. And I mean, credit, I'm not sure. You know, I think they'll go down in history as one of the great defenses at Ohio State. Oh yeah. Well, first had to do with great players, but you know, I don't know if it's ever happened before. 2 guys never played and they became first rounders. You know, Marshawn Lattimore never played. And Malik Hooker never played, and all of a sudden you got the best one of the best pass defenses in the country, and two top, I don't want to say top 15 picks, right?
You go back to that last game against Michigan last year, the second last game for you guys. You've been in some pressure cookers before, whether it be SEC days, Florida State, whatever. Even this rivalry was that game. I don't know. It seemed different. I remember you collapsing on the field at the end when it ended. I mean, did it feel maybe more intense than any other moment you've been in?
Yeah, that was the most intense game I've ever been in. That was one that every inch, every second, every foot mattered, and against a very good team.
More intense than national title game? I mean, the stakes weren't as high, but maybe, I don't know, were they?
Well, the feeling after that game, I just remember it was exhausting. You know, same with our players. I mean, you play. We're down 17-7, and to come back against that group and then miss that field goal and have to go do it again. Yeah, that was tough.
Interesting you said inch.
Urban, do you view any parallel between yourself and James Franklin at Penn State? You both kind of took over programs in the midst of coming off sanctions, and now you've both gotten conference titles on a couple. Do you see any parallel there?
Not necessarily. I just, respect what he's done, and he's at a great place.
Urban, you choose the coaching business and you take everything that goes with it, good and bad. When you see the situation happen with Thad Matta, very successful coach at Ohio State, and a long coach there, is that just the business, or how did you personally react?
Well, when I see it from afar, it doesn't bother me. When I see it to a friend, where I see right in our back door a guy that I know does it right, he's a good person. Sometimes things happen, and so that was very personal. Just because I love Thad Matta, and he's been great to us. Him and his wife are great for the Buckeyes. But I think Ohio State handled it pretty good with much respect, but it is what it is. And so yeah, it was very personal.
This is going to sound like a ridiculous question with the success you've had as a head coach. And I know you've told us, I think, the story when you were an assistant, part of the staff, the coach was fired, and loved that. Have you ever, for a moment in your life as a head coach, ever thought about getting fired? Has it ever? And I understand, like, the record, obviously, but just the idea of, okay, I'm going to try.
What are you trying to do, man? Are you trying to?
I'm just trying to. That's a concern, I think, for a lot of guys. That's a reality they have to face. I just don't know if you've ever had to face that reality. When you're taking a job, you think, man, I don't know if I want to take this. This is going to be hard to win here.
I remember sitting, not to go too far down memory lane here, but I remember sitting in a hotel room in Columbia, Missouri, when I took over Bowling Green, and I had 25 kids quit the program. We're allowed to travel 70, and I want to say I brought 57. And we're sitting in a hotel room, and I think we're going to get our brains beat in. I looked at Shelley and said, how long will they keep us if we lose every game? And her comment was, shut up, you'll probably win it tomorrow. And I said, we're not going to win that game. So that was the only time I think that words ever come up. I hope it never comes up again. We open practice Thursday, man. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Well, I do think he can, and we need it. That's a must. That's a must, and it's time. I don't think he was a premier back last year. I thought he was good. And JT needs him to be a premier back. You want to be a great quarterback, have a premier running back right next to you. Have some premier receivers out there with you, too. And it's time. Wasn't good enough. Didn't have the breakaway speed. He needs to pick up his feet. He's down to 200, and I want to say he's lost 7 pounds. He's legitimate fast now. He wasn't fast. He wasn't mature. He's very mature right now. He's done a really nice. Tony Alford's really done a nice job with him. I'm really pleased. Mike Weber's. I'm hoping you guys see a different back, and he was good, but he wasn't premier. I can barely hear you. He does now. Yeah, last year he was an immature guy, never a bad guy, always a good young man, but his grades took off. He earned good enough grades to move off campus. He's really doing nice things to typical maturity you have from a third-year player.
Speaking of young guys, DeMario McCall, I guess when you're talking to him, you get an idea of how special he might be, but what do you see out of him in terms of big play capability? Is he somebody that you think could be a game breaker? And, what would you envision his role could be?
I saw what everybody saw last year, and when in the games that were out of hand, he went in and performed really well. Had some big plays for us. He's elusive, good acceleration. I worry, I want to see his top end speed, and I want to see his ability to survive injury. He's always been a guy dinged up a little bit, so he missed most of spring because of injury, and I'm hoping, because I love him as a kid. I'm sure you guys who talked to him, he's one of the greatest kids out there. So.
Just to double check on any injuries, off-field stuff. Right?
No, Marcus Ball had a boot. I saw someone ask me about that. That was inflammation of his toe. He's fine. He'll be ready to go Thursday. And I don't believe we have anybody. I'm sorry? Oh, he transferred. Darius Slade transferred. I believe Arizona State, but I don't know that. I'm trying to think any other injury. They had shoulder surgery, so they're gonna be 80% to start, but they'll be within 10 days. They'll be full speed.
Is Dylan Thompson back on scholarship, or what's his status?
He's not on scholarship right now.
But is he still?
He was ineligible last year, so he's to be determined.
When you have an up-and-coming five-star guy in your own backyard, is there a mandate to the staff that he's a Buckeye? That he doesn't get away?
Oh, we do. I don't know mandate, but we do our very best not to let him leave. And
Is that guy more important than a guy from?
sure, absolutely. Anybody from our home state is more important.
Speaking of recruiting, your track record with recruiting kind of speaks for itself. There are a number of schools that are building new facilities, and they've kind of said that this new facility is going to be our ticket to recruiting success. What kind of correlation would you draw between facilities and recruiting success?
Not a perfect one, but a very high correlation to investment. But I put investment to work ethic in recruiting. If you got 9 guys grinding it, and I think the best recruiting tool we have right now is a testimony of our players and our families. And I think we're doing very good because of the guys that help us. Our current players it's a great group of guys I got right now.
Urban, there's a lot of attention in the last few years from the NFL and college about head injuries, the physical toll of the game. You're also, besides a coach, you're also a father of a son who plays football. Do you ever concern yourself as a father about the physical toll of the game and the risk that there is in playing that?
Sure. We had that conversation. That was a pretty deep conversation with my wife and I, and of course she wanted him to play, but she shared her concerns. And I went and watched a few practices, and if I see something not being taught correctly, I'll get involved. And he's at a very good school, Bishop Watterson. But of course
How old was he when you had that conversation?
Well, he actually played. We started 7th grade team down in Florida at St. Patrick's. It was they never had a team, and I was involved in helping them start it. And I would go out to practice. I took the year off, and I went. That was the year I didn't coach. I sat and watched him and watched the way he was being taught.
Do you approach that subject at all with your current players at Ohio State, or how do you even wrap your head around that as a coach of a game that is now being questioned by some?
That's a great question. I think the way we handle with our players is they see how serious we are about not just head injuries, but head injuries in total. And it's something we watch very closely. But to say that we have, meetings, I don't know if we do that.
Remember 5 years ago, Penn State guys, including Mike Roddy, were here discussing and talking about whether they were going to have a team with regard to the sanctions that come back. Do you envision less than 5 years later they would win a Big Ten championship?
I just know that places like that, you don't keep them down very long. And I thought their staff and players did a nice job, obviously, but I never really thought about it.
Sanctions like that, should they have lingered, or not? The effects of them, should they have lingered longer than they did?
Oh, I don't know.
You never got a chance to, I didn't get a chance to ask you your reaction to Bob Stoops stepping down, and how much of a shock was that to you, and then how does it kind of change? Because obviously you're looking ahead to that game in some respects. Now, how does it change just preparation with a new guy at the helm?
No, that doesn't change at all. But he's a friend. I talked to him, and he's an Ohio guy that I've known for quite a while. A lot of respect, and we just talked about broadcasting and talked about his family and talked about what's next, and happy for him.
And you were kind of at that crossroads 7 years ago. Stepped off, stepped back. Do you feel like he's at a crossroads, or do you feel like he's taking an exit?
Oh, I don't want to. That's none of my business. I know he's in a happy spot right now. He's in a good place, and I think he's going to be great at whatever he decides to do. I think what makes him unique is he's had 2,000-yard rushers, and he's had throwing the ball very well. So he adapts to what he has, which I think great coaches have to do.
Urban, while Ezekiel Elliott was here, we know how close you were with him, how close you were with the Elliott family, just to Stacey. What do you think is going on with Zeke in Dallas? There's all this stuff about off the field, things happening.
It's real documented. I love Zeke, and like you said, very close to him. What do I think is going on? I'd rather not comment because I don't know. I don't know the details of everything. I flip on news or something. I see what you guys see probably, but to say I know more than you guys, I don't.
When you see someone though like that you know so well, and they're in the headlines, are you concerned?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Very much so, and I'm always on call. I don't try to get my nose into it unless I'm asked. And but of course I'm concerned.
Have you talked to him much about? Have you talked to Ezekiel or his family?
That's between me and them.
2 more questions, folks.
The early enrollees really set the tone for this freshman class. The guys who came in the summer, if they kept it.
Yeah, it's a really good class. I'll be devastated. I just think it's a great class. I mean, you're talking about great grades. It's been the last 2 classes, 16 and 17, have been, and I'm just hoping the production's there in football.
Urban, you said that it was